The 13 Chimes. Clara was a girl who liked things to be just so. Her button collection, all 1,042 of them, was sorted perfectly by size, shape, and shimmer. Her most prized possession was a single mother-of-pearl button that shone like a captured piece of cloud. One Tuesday, it slipped, bounced, and rolled right under the tall grandfather clock. "Oh, botherations," Clara sighed, reaching into the dusty space. But her hand didn't touch the back of the clock. It touched nothing at all. A gust of air that smelled of honey and thunderstorms puffed out. At that very moment, the clock began to chime. Not once, not 12 times, but a loud and impossible 13 times. On the 13th chime, the floor disappeared. Clara tumbled downwards, not through darkness, but through a swirl of ticking sounds, floating Roman numerals, and spinning clock hands. "This is most unusual," she cried, as a giant number V drifted past her nose. She landed with a soft poof on a patch of bright blue grass. A man made entirely of brass cogs and winding keys scurried towards her. He held a pocket watch that had 3 hands, all pointing in different directions. "You're late," he chirped. "I am?" asked Clara. "Terribly," said the man. "You're dreadfully late for being early. I'm the ticking man, and my schedule is in an uproar." "I don't think that makes any sense," said Clara politely. "Sense, a terrible waste of time," the ticking man fretted, hopping from one foot to the other. "You're looking for something. I can tell. All lost things go to the king. You must follow the trail of forgotten spectacles." Clara followed a path marked by spectacles of every kind, some with cracks, some with one lens, some perched on the noses of grumpy-looking statues. The path led to a garden where the flowers all had faces and were whispering to each other. "She's not wearing a hat," a primrose sniffed. "Quite improper." Clara ignored the gossiping flowers and soon came to a clearing. Between 2 enormous, polka-dotted mushrooms, a web was strung. But it wasn't a normal web. It was woven from threads of pure light, each one shimmering with a different color. In the web's center sat a spider that seemed to be made of spun moonlight and tiny stars. "Hello," it whispered in a voice that sounded like turning pages. "I am the weaver of what-ifs. This thread is a world where you have wings. This one, a world where you speak only in rhyme." "Do you have a thread for a lost button?" Clara asked. The weaver pointed a slender, shining leg. "All lost things are drawn to the king of lost things. His castle lies beyond the whispering woods, where forgotten secrets rustle in the leaves." The castle was built from mismatched teacups, lonely keys, and odd shoes. On a throne of forgotten books sat a gentle-faced king, wearing a crown of unpaired earrings. "Welcome," he said with a sad smile. "I am the king of lost things. I have everything here, except my own favorite memory." Pinned to his royal sash, shining brightly, was Clara's mother-of-pearl button. Clara, seeing the king's sadness, felt a familiar urge to put things right. "If I help you find your memory," she proposed. "May I have my button back?" The king's eyes widened. "My dear child," he sighed. "It is the one lost thing I cannot find. But perhaps the librarian of forgotten words could help. She knows where things go when they are truly gone." "How do I find her?" Clara asked. "Follow the river of spilled ink," the king advised, pointing a finger adorned with a lost ring. "It flows from the inkwells of poets who couldn't find the right word. But beware the paperfold cranes. They snatch stray thoughts right out of the air." Clara thanked the king and found the river easily. It was a slow, dark current of glistening ink that smelled of old paper and new ideas. It gurgled with half-finished sentences. Above her, sharp-edged birds made of folded paper soared on silent wings. Suddenly, one of the cranes dove straight for her. Clara gasped and ducked. The paper bird swooped past, its sharp wing just missing her hair. It deftly plucked a little cloud from the air above her head, a thought bubble containing a picture of her button before flying off. "How rude," she huffed. The river led her to a vast, quiet library. The shelves seemed to be woven from solidified whispers, and the books on them had no words, only colors and textures that pulsed with feeling. An old woman with spectacles made of layered magnifying lenses was carefully dusting a scroll of silence. "Excuse me," Clara said softly. "Are you the librarian of forgotten words?" The woman looked up, her eyes enormous behind her lenses. "I am, and you are looking for a lost memory." Clara nodded. "Memories are not words," the librarian explained. "They are echoes, trapped in lost sounds. You will need this." She handed Clara a beautiful, spiraled conch shell, a sound snatcher. "The king's memory will be in the echoing caverns," the librarian continued, her voice a hush. "It is where all forgotten sounds gather. The entrance is just behind that waterfall of ink." She pointed to a corner of the library, where the ink river cascaded from a high shelf. Clara clutched the sound snatcher and bravely stepped through the inky curtain. She found herself in a vast cavern. The air hummed with faint noises, the ghost of a lullaby, the whisper of an untold secret, the tinkle of forgotten laughter. It was beautiful and a little sad. Clara closed her eyes and listened, just as she listened for the specific rattle of a certain button in her collection. She ignored the sad sounds and focused on the happy ones. Then she heard it, a woman's voice humming a sweet tune, a little boy's giggle, and the words, "You are my treasure." The sound snatcher in her hands pulsed with a warm, golden light. She hurried back through the library and the whispering woods, past the gossiping flowers and the trail of spectacles, until she reached the castle of mismatched things. The king was sitting on his throne, looking at the pearl button in his hand with a lonely expression. "Your Majesty," Clara said, holding out the glowing shell. "I believe I have found it." The king looked up, his eyes filled with disbelief. He slowly reached out and took the sound snatcher from her. The king raised the shell to his ear. A smile, as bright as 1,000 found pennies, spread across his face. A single, happy tear rolled down his cheek. "My mother," he whispered. "She used to sing that to me in the garden." He looked at Clara, his face transformed with joy. "You have found the most precious lost thing of all." Beaming, the king unpinned the mother-of-pearl button from his sash. "A fair exchange," he declared, placing it carefully in Clara's hand. "It is a beautiful button, but a memory of love is priceless." Clara's heart felt as full and bright as the button itself. "Now, for your journey home," said the king. He led her behind his throne to a tall, wooden door that looked exactly like the front of her grandfather clock, complete with a golden pendulum. "This is the way back for things that are truly found," he explained, and gave her a gentle bow. Clara said her goodbyes and stepped through the door. She wasn't falling this time, but simply standing on the polished wooden floor of her room. The grandfather clock gave a single, gentle chime. In her hand, safe and sound, was her mother-of-pearl button. Everything was perfectly, wonderfully, just so.
Subscribe to the channel and like the bell icon. Thanks for watching LevelUp Talks production. See you soon again!